Michael Voris will be speaking in Houston, Texas on Saturday, May 21st at a day-long conference on the topic of hell, what it is, and how to avoid it. For more information, please click on the link next to today's Vortex and News. That's Houston, Texas, Saturday, May 21st. God bless you. Hello, and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Philippines forced to contracept. The president is calling any resistance to his controversial reproductive health bill treason. President Aquino told reporters group efforts to boycott taxes or other means of civil rebellion occurring after what supporters call the reproductive health bill passes will be charged with sedition. Filipino bishops walked out on talks with the president last week after he said he was willing to be excommunicated over getting the bill passed. Legalization of the bill would taint school curricula with sex education and endorse contraception distribution campaigns, opening the floor for laws supporting abortion. Schools sanction secret abortions. A New Zealand mother is enraged after her 16-year-old daughter had an abortion without her knowledge, and it was arranged by a school counselor. Fox News reports this is only the tip of the iceberg, as yet another mother found out the hard way that privacy laws require educators to withhold such information, even from parents, without the consent of the student. Concerned about her daughter, one mother was shocked when denied information by school staff saying, quote, "I went through the horror of knowing that under the legislation, they did not need to say anything to me." End quote. Almost 4,000 abortions were performed on girls between the ages of 11 and 19 in 2009 because what is called the Care of Children Act says a female of any age can get an abortion. Disabled fear forced euthanasia. Fear grows among the disabled as government officials in the United Kingdom turn a blind eye to laws banning assisted suicide. A recent study done by SCOPE, a disabilities advocate group, reveals 70% of disabled individuals are afraid they will be pressured to end their lives should the laws change. A government think tank is posing the question that if suicide becomes legal, will lethal drugs be available over the counter? SCOPE's chief executive says that most people in this country are concerned about the legalization of assisted suicide, not just the disabled. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Communists ignore papal authority. The Chinese government is trying to ordain its own Catholic bishops and has told the Vatican not to interfere. The honorary chairman of the Patriotic Association, Lu Banyan, says bishops installed by, quote, self-election and self-ordination are wanted by the Catholic Church in China. In a new communist newspaper, Banyan orders the Vatican, quote, not to interfere with the self-election and self-ordination of bishops and recognize and support the elected bishops in their work of evangelization. In typical communist fashion, clergy are being forced to elect candidates chosen by the Communist Party, and candidates are being chosen to replace bishops put in place by papal authority. And lastly, Oregon bans suicide kits. Despite legalizing suicide 13 years ago, Oregon lawmakers are backpedaling on the sale and marketing of suicide kits. Since the law was enacted, state government has taken note of a 30% increase in suicide and identified the availability of suicide kits as a large part of the problem. Senator Floyd Przansky notes, quote, any kid who suffers from depression after losing their first boyfriend or girlfriend and thinking the world was over has access to this right now. The bill is in reaction to the recent suicide of a 29-year-old man suffering from long-term depression who ordered a suicide hood from out of state to kill himself. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out the Vortex today where Michael will talk about us versus them. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
CatholicUnderground.com, the podcast about our Catholic faith and new media.